why people were so behind. Sorry. Basically, I got really sick. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we also had a whole scenario where our roof leaked during the big storm, and that took like 3 weeks to deal with. So between that and me getting sick, we're just a little behind. But here's our video. Hi, I'm Jane.
And I'm Jen.
And we're SpielMill.
Yes, and this is our
Shelf of Shameful Opportunity.
Jazz hands.
Anyway, so this is where we talk about games we have played recently for the first time. And we're playing catch-up, so some of these go back a few months.
Yep.
So bear with us. We pretty sure we remember everything we need to remember, but it's possible we don't.
We'll see how it goes.
So we're starting with a collection of games from Dr. Steve Finn that he did a Kickstarter. It was all print and play games, roll and writes that are, some of them are word games, others were just solo. They're all solo games. And they're mostly pretty fun.
Yep.
But we'll talk about them.
Yeah, and we play them together. I mean, they're solo games, but so are a lot of roll and writes, right? There's no player interaction. It's just who has the best score at the end wins.
All right. So we start with a game called Crunch the Numbers. And this is probably the most abstract-ish of the games. Like, there's literally no theme. Like, no theme at all. No attempt at a theme. It's just like 3 grids. And you roll dice and you get a couple numbers and you need to put them in the grids, and it'll be like, the column will be like, all the numbers in this column have to not equal each other. All the numbers in this row have to be equal. So that kind of thing where basically, or all the numbers in this row have to add up to more than 12 or have to be less than 12, you know.
Right. And you've got a word, you've got a designation for what has to be in that column. There's a better word for that, but in the column and in the row. So each box is going to have 2 things that it has to, 2 conditions. There we go. I got there. 2 conditions it has to match if that row or column is going to score. So, you know, you're trying to figure out what number to put in there that's going to make both down and across work. And
if you fill in certain columns or rows, you get little bonus abilities like flipping dice, like dice manipulations that you can use.
Yep.
So this game's pretty fun. I think it's okay.
I liked it. And so here's the thing. You hear the name Crunch the Numbers and you look at it and it's like not equal to and greater than 10, or and if you're not a math person, it might feel a little overwhelming or like not your game. Like I don't do Sudoku, right? I can't do it. Does not click in my brain. But I don't think this has that issue.
No,
it did not. This was fine. This was more pattern recognition or pattern building than math. So if you're scared of math, as I am, don't worry. This still might be for you, because I enjoyed this game. I thought it was really fun.
I probably shouldn't point out the math monster running towards us. No, I actually didn't love this game. I mean, I thought it was fine. It was like, it's a good game-ish. But, you know, I like theme a lot, and there's like no theme, and it's just abstract.
It's puzzly.
It's
more of a puzzle without a theme.
It is very much a puzzle, and
I like puzzles, so I think that's why it probably.
I like puzzles, but
I know you do, but I think this clicked a little more for me than you, just because of that puzzly element.
I mean, maybe so, but yeah, I just didn't find it crazy. I wasn't crazy about it, but it's not a bad game design or anything like that. It's just gonna depend on whether it's your cup of tea. So we'll throw up some pictures of the sheets. We will have done it by now, so you can get an idea of what we're talking about.
If you like abstract puzzles, this might be one you enjoy.
All right, so another one from Dr. Finn was Cosmic Run Mission 1, I think it was called. Cosmic Run's so some of these games are based on other games he's designed, and they're like, you know, solo versions. I enjoyed this game a ton. I played it like 50 times.
Yeah, I've only played it a few times, so I'm really going to defer to Jane on this one because I know she played it a lot.
Yeah, I played it 50 times, literally. So, like, and it's just like, it's a real simple game where you roll some dice and then you allocate them to either mark off your ships on your side of the planets, or dice manipulation bonuses. And then at the end of each turn, you had to mark off alien ships, and you were trying to mark off all the your ships on the side of a planet before you marked off all the alien ships on the side of the planet to get maximum points. And so then you had to decide sometimes whether or not to triage one planet to go after another, and it was hard to maximize the points, but it was really fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well. Like I said, I only played this a couple times, and you played it a lot more, but I really found this to be a fun, a lot of good decision space in it. And push your luck. There's some push your luck there too.
Yep.
Trying to decide, okay, well, if I just close out this planet right now, I know that I can score, you know, at least the middle range of points,
right?
Or try to go for the max.
You're like, oh, do I go for the planet over here or the planet over here? If I roll a 2, I'm in trouble if I don't go for this planet, but I want to go after this planet, you know, whatever. So it ends up being a trade-off, and then you push your luck, and then your planet gets destroyed.
Damn aliens! Yeah, but again, it's a nice little game, especially, again, a great solo roll and write, good for filling in some time if you're alone or if you're traveling.
Yep.
Solid game.
So, really fun. The next one up is a game about putting farm animals into pens, and it's called Pen Pals. Very punny name.
Yeah,
this one was delightful.
This one was really delightful. This was, I think, probably one of the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember what else.
Very
we had
pleasant,
but yeah.
Game. And you're basically just drawing lines, and you had certain line shapes that you had to choose from, and you could only use one like each one once, and something like that. And then you were trying to pen in the animals, and then you got points based on like if there were 4 different animals, you got a lot of points in the pen, or if you got 4 of the same animal, you got a lot of points. But it was hard to do because there's only 4 types of animals, and they're distributed across the grid in different ways. So
yeah, and sometimes, you know, there might be a shape that you really need to finish off an area just so, but you don't roll the dice for it. So you have to kind of rethink your strategy in the middle. And I mean, this had, to me, one of the hallmarks of a really good game is I start out thinking, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I follow my strategy and I get going, and then everything goes to hell. And I've got to strategize in the middle. And that happened, you know, a couple of times. But it's enjoyable because each time I can figure out a new way to kind of maximize my points and make my move and figure out a way for it to work. Right. So this was a really, really lovely roll and write.
Yeah. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
And it has some theme. I like the idea of having your little animals in the pen together. And you have to make sure they're watered as well. And it doesn't score if they're not watered. And so I felt really bad if I didn't water my animals.
Yeah, that was
so sad.
Rude, first of all.
Poor piggies were so thirsty.
Just terrible. But anyway, that was a really fun game. So the next one up is Little Flower Shop, open for business. Now, we've actually have one. Little Flower Shop is a game that Dr. Finn did. And we have Little Flower Shop Duel. We didn't like it. We didn't really like it at all. I really enjoyed this, though. It's just a simple economics game where you roll dice, you claim certain flower shop items, then you roll dice, it changes the prices, and then you got to sell an item. You got to sell like however many you have that item. So maybe 1, it may be 4. And then you do it again, you do it again, you do it again, and you're trying to maximize how much profit you make. It's a lot harder than it seems. And, you know, there's a certain strategy of like go early on in the game, selling like just one of an item you just have one of, so that you can get the prices lined up correctly, and then sell like 6 of something at max price.
Because the prices go up and down too. They don't stay consistent. So it's not like you're just trying to max it out and then sell the most you can. You've got to hit it right at that sweet spot, because the price could dip in the next.
And you could go right past it, because you roll 2 dice, and if you roll 2 of the same number, it goes right past the number, and sometimes that's the number you need, and you're like, ah. So
I'm not gonna lie, I barely remember this. I remember just enough of it to talk about it, but I remember liking it, but that's all I know. So I'm gonna let you really deliver the verdict on this one.
And you do get 3 rerolls in the game, so that was useful for that strategy. But I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was good little simple roll and write that just I don't know, just really worked for my brain. So next up we have My Perfect City, And this is kind of, you're building a city on a grid, and it's kind of how a lot of these games are. Like, if you have the houses and they're all in the same row, then you get points for them. But you only get points for one row out of all the rows, or trees that are orthogonally adjacent. You get points for a clump of trees, more for the bigger the clump is.
Now, I think I've said it before. This is one of my favorite like niche genres of these like city building, roll and write city building, where you're just drawing houses on the box and parks next to it. I don't know. I find it super zen. I love these. I admit they're not, it's not Agricola. It's not Castles of Burgundy. But for me, these hit a sweet spot. This one had some really interesting elements to it, though, that made it a little bit unique. As you place your elements on the map, your houses and parks and things like that, you're actually placing polyominoes. It's roll and write, so you have to draw the polyomino shape on there that have preset filled squares. So it could be like a house and a tree, or I don't know what some of these things are, a municipal building and a bank or a money symbol or something like that. So you don't have complete and utter freedom. So that adds a whole nother layer of complexity
Right.
complexity to it. So like any of the other polyomino games that we all love, it's about getting the right shape in the right place, and then you've got these external scoring conditions that you want to meet, and sometimes you got to sacrifice one to max the other.
I mean, I enjoy this. There are some obvious strategies, like the big pieces you want to play early because they're harder to get into your grid late, that kind of thing.
And they're limited. You can only use each one once.
Right, you can only use each piece once, and then in saving those little pieces, there's a couple of wild pieces, saving those for like when you have little holes to fill in. But that could be harder to do than because you needed to roll certain numbers to get to them. So you didn't want to wait too long to use them. You wanted to use them at the right time. So it was tricky, interesting. If you used all the objects under a number, it became wild and you could choose anything from any number. And that was helpful.
That was very helpful.
So if you give you more flexibility late in the game, which is good, because late in the game your grid gets really full and some of these polyominoes just don't fit anywhere.
Right.
So
yeah, so again, this is a sweet spot for me, but I really enjoyed this one. I thought it brought more complexity to the roll and write city builder than we've seen.
Yeah, I agree with that. So my perfect city, although I think we have My City from Black Imp Games. I actually like that one a little better for whatever reason.
The My City roll and write?
Yep, that's what I said.
Yeah, I think see, to me that's in a different
or My Little
genre.
City or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know.
Mini City. That's what it is.
I don't know what I'm thinking. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
The roll and write.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna play roll and write.
Yeah,
Right.
It's the end of the day.
Next up, we have Word Wrap, and I love the concept of this one a ton. You have a crossword puzzle, and you have to put letters into the crossword puzzle. The letters are dictated by dice rolls, which all sounds great and fun and awesome, but it got super samey, super fast. And this is where, in one of my first games, I played must have been like the perfect word. It was like juke or something like that. So you got a lot of points for a J, a lot of points for a K, and then they cross index on up, cross and down clues. And then it was like every game, I should just go for juke again. I should just go for juke again.
Yeah, juke, juice, and koala.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, it's very, again, it's very limited. So like if you roll a 1, there's 6 letters you can choose from. If you roll a 2, 6 letters you can choose from. But it's a small grid, and there's not a lot going to change up, and you're just really going to figure out really quickly how to solve this one. I think it's fun. It's not expensive, so it was actually, I really, really enjoyed this, but not as something I would play over and over again. I think it was more like a one-off puzzle.
Yeah, it was fun, like she said, but yeah, I think it just didn't have staying power. So as far as these go. So next up we have, I think this one's called Spell It Out. I had to remember, sorry. Because the names, one thing about this was, I thought was, I don't know, Dr. Finn, you ever see this? Put the name of the game on the game sheet.
Yes, please, please, please do that.
You're doing like 8 games and the names of the games are not on the game sheets,
Yeah.
which is fine in a way because they're organized digitally separately, but when you print them out, they get mixed up, and then it just was a simple little thing to do.
Yeah.
That would have helped a little bit.
Yeah. And so this one also marries that polyomino with the letter grid. So you've got a letter grid, and as you roll your dice, you pick a polyomino and you have to draw it onto the letter grid, and they have to be contiguous from after the first one. So you're kind of have to think again about what strategy you're going to do. Then you take the letters from the polyomino you just drew and you put them into boxes in the bottom. And there's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words at the bottom. One is 2 or 3 letters, one is 4 letters, 2 or 4 letters, et cetera, et cetera. So there's, they're limited. They're prescribed. It's not like you can just make random words. You have to put them into those boxes. So that's
some have double letter scores and some have double word scores or extra points for getting a word.
Yeah.
That fits. But.
So it's not quite crosswordy because you're not trying to like use the words going up and down, but I like the polyomino aspect to it, and we both really like words, and so it was kind of fun to try to build the words. But again, there's also probably some limit to it because again, the grid is static. It's not going to change.
It is, but I do think this had the most staying power of the 3 word games in this packet.
I agree.
I like this one the most.
I agree.
Most replayability.
I think so too. Yep.
So the 3rd word game is leftover letters. And this one's interesting because you got a grid and it has a bunch of letters and some blanks, and you write some of the, so you roll dice and then you add some letters into the blanks, and then you go through and you delete letters, and then you have to make words for each row and each column, and it's kind of hard. Pretty hard. I think it's fun. This doesn't have the staying power of the Spell It Out, I think, because it's for most of the letters are going to be the same every game. Now, there's some variation there, but...
So, yeah, as an example, the 2nd row, the letters that are written in, that are pre-written in, are UR, GTH, right? And there's only so many words you can make out of that letter selection, no matter what you put in the other 2 boxes.
If you delete the G and the H, obviously you take out brought and rot and all that, or hot and whatever, you take out all that stuff, but the variation's still limited.
Yep. So
I think it's fun, but it's got some limitations. And then there was a double letter score in each one, which actually made it a little more interesting, but it's tricky.
Again, I think this is one that I've enjoyed, and I don't think I'm quite done with it. I'd play it again a couple more times, but eventually you're going to figure it out, and it's just not going to be that much fun. Or you could pull it out once a year and play it, and it would probably be fresh.
Yeah. Next up, this was a bonus game as part of this Kickstarter. It was called Nanga Parbat, which is, he has a game, Nanga Parbat, and this is a roll and write version. I forget what the catchy name was because it's not on the sheet, but because this had a particular name, but this one I liked a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
You had these different islands of animals on a mountain, and then paths in between, and the paths were tied to scoring conditions. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, I thought I remembered this game, and now that we're trying to like describe how you get from one mountain to another, and
they're tied to certain scoring conditions. So like the C and the D.
That's right.
So you had, on your turn you roll dice, and you could either choose animals or choose a scoring condition or something like that, and then you're trying to balance that out so that at the end of the game you're maximizing your points, obviously, because the animals you choose cause you to lose out on other animals is one thing. And then the scoring conditions you choose obviously influence which animals you want to get. So, and where. So, location.
Yeah, and each animal scores differently. And again, this is something I love in a game too, is having, almost like set collection with some other, mechanism to it, but each set has a different scoring condition, right? So whether you want the most of it, or whether you you want more than anybody else at the table, or whether it scores based on, you know, an incremental scale, or the least of it, or, you know, it just, I think that makes a game really interesting, because you're always trying to do something just a little bit different with each animal, and it makes it exciting. There's a lot of decision space. You're thinking about a lot. I like to think during games. Big nerd.
So yeah, this was an excellent one.
Yeah,
this is one of the better ones, I thought.
I agree. I think this is one of the top.
Definitely up there. So we're going to sort of take a quick break while we go to our full list. We were looking at pictures of those games. Not the right sheet. SpielMill schedule. All right, so we will pick up with whatever's next. Pandora's Legacy.
Okay.
Right. Next up is a big puzzle game from Post Curious, who are our favorite puzzle game makers. And this is Pandora's Legacy. And this is a jigsaw puzzle game. So the first thing you do is you build a jigsaw puzzle. But it's a weirdly shaped one. And then you solve puzzles. And then you build more jigsaw and then puzzles.
Yeah,
and that's all I'll say.
Yeah. It's a legacy. Not a legacy.
It is a legacy. It's supposed to be legacy, and it's campaign or whatever.
We're not done it yet. But we can deliver a verdict based on.
Oh, it's fantastic.
We're about probably halfway through, maybe more than halfway.
It's difficult at times, and we've had to use some hints, but and we're pretty good at puzzles, so that, you know. But there were just some things that we weren't thinking about right.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to, with Post Curious, you have to really get yourself sometimes out of your predisposed thoughts about a puzzle.
I will, and I am very prone to this. I will convince myself that I have it figured out. I just haven't quite made it work. Like, I have to connect these two things, and I just am not connecting them right. But once I do, it'll all become clear. And it's sometimes not. So I have to, if it's not working right away, I have to back up and reevaluate. Is this the only way to think of this? Is there another way to look at this particular puzzle? Look at the wording. Is there another way I could interpret those words? And that just makes these so rich, so deep, such an interesting experience.
Now, I will say these are not lighter games. This is not a lighter game. This is a more complex puzzle game. So it's probably, if like, I don't know, if Dead Ball Mystery Society is your level of puzzle, then this might be too much. But
yeah,
it's definitely on the more complex end of their puzzles.
Yeah, and these are not, while they are one-offs, they're not a one-session play.
No, not at all.
I mean, it took us probably 4 hours to do the puzzle alone, just the first part of the puzzle. That's the other thing I'll say with this. If you don't like jigsaw puzzles, this is probably not for you. We like jigsaw puzzles, and this was a really fun one to put together. So with the not square edges, it was really, that made it really interesting.
Yeah, it did.
And I loved that. This was so much dopamine. It was so good.
But it inverted the whole puzzle thing where you build the frame and then you work on the inside, and then like you couldn't do that here as easily. So
no, it made it really challenging, but really good. If you really want a challenging puzzle, and again, this is something that's just a little bit different because that jigsaw puzzle, it makes it really unique amongst the genre.
Yep. So that's one game from Post Curious. We played another one from Post Curious, and this was called Ministry of Lost Things, Case 1, Lint Condition. As you can probably tell from the title, this game is really punny.
This was very cute.
It was super cute.
I really thought this was adorable. Oh my God. I loved this. This was on the simpler end.
Yes, this was more like towards that Dead Ball Mystery Society level of complexity. One of the easier, I think, not as easy as Light and the Mist maybe, but one of the easier accessible games within the Post Curious line.
Didn't we do this in one sitting or no?
I think we did. I can't remember it for sure, but it was definitely, it went pretty quick, and we did it in a few hours or 2-3 hours or something.
Yeah, but this was
the whole
very
thing,
cute. Wow, I highly recommend this for the theme, as well as the puzzle experience. Well,
Yeah.
I can't imagine Post Curious not delivering on the puzzles. So, I mean, that's kind of a given for us, but the theme on this one was just fun.
It was delightful, but it was easier. So if you're looking for the more complex end like Pandora's Legacy, this is not that. This is more closer to Light in the Mist and stuff like that.
Yep, but it would be a good step up if you're looking to move forward.
I agree. All right, next up, we have, oh wait, I got to go over a Cathedroll. This is a roll and write game. And this it's kind of a coloring roll and write game where you're filling in stained glass in columns. And then you're scoring based on, you're trying to get like a column to be all the same color if possible. And then fill in the top of the pillar with that color so you can get a multiplier effect for the points. And sometimes it was doable, sometimes it wasn't. I thought this was really fun. It had some kind of like, I don't know how to say this, it was a good game, but it did have a couple of like things that were hard to work around, I guess. I don't know. I had questions about it. I asked the designer, and they were helpful. The publisher or someone helped me out, and that was good. But it did have a couple of like rough edges, I guess is what I'm looking to say.
You figured it out and then taught me, so I don't know. This one I think is also one you soloed several times without me, so I have less experience with it, but I really enjoyed it, and I do like a coloring game. Again, talk about a nice weeknight game when your brain is sort of fried and you want something but you don't want a big heavy experience. I thought this was just the right level of puzzly with the sort of creative coloring aspect to it that made it really a sweet game.
Yeah, it was a good one. Really enjoyed it. And it's a good coloring game. So if coloring is your cup of tea, I think there's been a few attempts at these coloring roll and writes, and they don't all work, but this one worked.
This one does, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So definitely worth a try.
Yep.
Next up, actually, can you say it? I need a drink.
Next up, we have Spirits of Christmas, and this is one we play tested before it was kickstarted, and so we just got our Kickstarter version this year, and so we played it the real fully produced out of the box version for Christmas this year, and it's based on the Charles Dickens. Can't talk tonight.
Charles Dickinson. It's Emily Dickens' cousin.
Yeah. Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. I'll get it out eventually. It's based on that, and there's 3 rounds, 1 for each ghost, and you are trying to gather happiness and comfort and joy, or something like that, charity,
right? That
you need to assuage the characters during each round.
Is this the only cooperative Christmas game we have?
No, because we played Hunted.
We have Hunted.
And we played Final Girl cooperative.
Oh, Final Girl, yeah. So, but it is cooperative, so that is unique to some degree. And then it's got a great theme, and it's really fun. It's just really
hard.
Yeah, we had a hard time this time. I think we did better when we play tested somehow.
Yeah, maybe they beefed it up based on our win stats.
I don't know, but so we had a lot of fun with it. We didn't talk about it after we play tested it, so we wanted to talk about it now that we have the game. But we really like this one. I like this one a ton, so I think it's worth it.
Yeah, and
check it out.
The art is very thematic. It's actually a really lovely Christmas themed game because it has that sort of Dickensian era art on it, right? So it's a little bit different than art that is, more 20th century, 21st century Christmas style. That old-timey goodness. So that made it really delightful. And like you said, it's cooperative. So really lovely game. If you're trying to build up your Christmas board game collection, definitely recommend this one.
And speaking of Christmas, one more Christmas game for the list, Christmas at Smithering. This was a murder mystery Christmas game in the town of Smithering. Somebody was murdered. You have to figure out who was murdered and who was murdered by whom, who the accomplices were, what the motive was, stuff like that. And we played, this is from Murder by Post. We played, we talked about it, their advent calendar one in our last video, which we really enjoyed. I didn't like this one quite as much. The puzzles weren't quite as good.
Yeah.
But it was still a good game, but it wasn't quite as good.
It was also a little bit less distinct that you got the right answer.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, you kind of had a, it was almost like you were making an educated guess.
Yeah.
As opposed to solving it.
Yeah. Which is fine. I don't think that's what we expected. We expected to be like, aha, we know who the killer is.
Exactly.
Not, I deduce it's Mrs. Peacock. So yeah, I think maybe if we played another one from them and it was the same way, we would expect it and it wouldn't have thrown us off as much. But it was fine. And it certainly was Christmassy. It was a nice, we played on Christmas Eve, so.
It's a good time to play it.
Yeah.
But it was a good game. And, you know, sorry, I'm drinking so much water. I'm just like.
It's like 200 degrees up here. It's so hot.
I feel like I'm just drinking water the whole video. It's just water.
It's like 4 degrees outside and our downstairs to keep it warm enough down there, up here becomes a sauna.
Yep. So anyway, I think that's a good one. I think Murder by Post is good. They're doing different games. I think you could find them. Is it Etsy? I can't. They have their own shop somewhere, but they have pretty good games. So this wasn't as good as the other one we played, but you know, 2 games and both were good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
oh yeah. I would not play.
And very thematic. So. All right. So next up we have a roll and write. This one's called Rolling Sheep. This was pretty fun as well, I thought.
I don't remember this one at all. Why don't you tell us about it? Maybe I will.
Well, you have a grid of just different sheep. There are black sheep, there's white sheep.
Oh, I liked this
and
one
there's
a lot.
like hybrid
sheep.
sheep.
I really like this.
And you had a track going around the outside, and you would roll dice, and it would be like, oh, I can move 4 spaces to this spot, 8 spaces to this spot, and fill in a sheep of that color, you know, whatever. And you were trying to meet certain scoring conditions. There were like 6 different scoring conditions. Like you get so many points for having 4 different sheep in a diagonal kind of thing, or you know, that kind of stuff. And it was pretty fun. I think it wasn't like, I think it had a couple of rough edges, just like Cathedroll did, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I really liked this one too. You know, again, as a print and play roll and write, I think that my level of expectation from them, because your investment is lower, is not that they're going to be perfect. I just want to have a pleasant time filling out or you know, figuring out the puzzle and playing the game. And this one delivered on that. And I thought the sheep were cute. Weren't there pink sheep? Am I
There might have been
misimagining that?
Yeah, they were wild, I think.
Yeah, I liked the pink sheep. The fact that there were pink sheep, it was cute. And it was not exactly a ratchet track, but sort of.
Yeah.
You know, you
can only move forward.
Right. You could only move forward. You can only hit each sheep once. I think you had to cross it out once you did it. So you had to think about, you know, I don't know. I'm not where I want to place that pink sheep yet or the wild sheep yet. So I'm going to try to skip it.
The only problem with that is you'd cross out a bunch and then it'd be really hard to eyeball, like, oh, I move forward 5 or 7. And I try to eyeball where that ended. You'd have to count and then be like, okay, here or here.
Yeah, yeah.
But I thought it was fun. This and Cathedroll also had rules questions that I had. And this is one of the challenges back in these Kickstarter print and plays is like a lot of times the rules are not terrible, but they're like, they just miss use cases.
Yeah.
Like different situational scenarios that...
And we'll find them.
They don't anticipate. We'll find them. We'll find them.
Every time.
Every time. And then we're like, I don't know what to do. So we had to make up some house rule and then, you know, go from there. But
I will say what's nice about these two is these are a lot of like new game designers who are kind of honing their craft and figuring out how to make a game, and some of them end up being games that you see in boxes that make it to full-on Kickstarter produced games. And
you get different themes because of people doing different things and stuff like that, and that's fun.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, there's been a few attempts at coloring games, but not a lot of them has been successful. Like Cartographers, I consider one, even though it wasn't meant that way exactly. But like, you know what I mean? Like, and then there was one that we had that was called Coloring the Stained Glass, which we didn't think was that good.
Yeah.
You know, but Cathedroll was good, and
yeah,
I thought Roll and Sheep, you know, wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
same.
Let's skip this one because I want to talk about that. This video is getting long. And talk about this one because we've played from Ann Journey Cretaceous Rails.
Ooh, we're gonna get lots. You've got lots of pictures of this. It's gorgeous.
So we'll have some B-roll in there and great pictures of dinos flying. You know, I can never remember the names.
Pterodactyls, maybe.
They weren't pterodactyls. I kept calling them that.
That's why I thought they were pterodactyls. I don't know what they were.
It's my fault, but really fun. So this game is, first of all, I really, you know, learning the game was really straightforward. Very straightforward rule set, but good strategic play.
Yes.
It had a simple yet interesting choices on the action mechanism, which was a grid of 16 tiles that you shuffled every round, and then you placed your action marker on the edge of 2 tiles, and you did the action on both tiles.
Right. So you get 2 actions, but it's not always going to be the same setup of actions. And actually, one time, I hadn't really calculated that this would be a thing or could be a thing. One of the actions that was really popular in that round was on the edge. Both of the tiles that represented that action were on the edge, so there were significantly
not just the edge, the corners.
The corners, so there were significantly fewer opportunities to do that action.
There were only 2 action spaces for each.
Yeah.
So only 4 times could it be done, and in a typical round, you're doing 8 or 10 actions each.
Yeah, and so I got completely blocked out from, it was put a card down, from putting down a card that I really needed to get down. And so I just think that's a really neat way to keep the game interesting. And so basically what you're doing is you get a choice of actions and you're trying to clear, so it's a sort of hexes, right? And there's a dinosaur and a tree on every hex. And you're building a train around the hexes, and you want to clear the trees so the dinosaurs are visible because you can't see them through the trees. And then you want to take tourists on your train to view the dinosaurs. And you get points based on the number of dinosaurs that you get, how many tourists of that color dinosaur that you take to view dinosaurs. There's a lot of different scoring conditions, but a lot of variability in the game.
Yeah, very interesting game. Very really good table presence, especially with the Cretaceous Skies expansion. And so for learning the game, the base game is fine, but I think the game is really complete with the Cretaceous Skies expansion, which is just a modular expansion, but it adds things like a 5th player action piece, which I think is necessary. I think we played the first game, we thought it was too short. That was like our one criticism.
Yeah.
And then like it adds the flying beasts, which I can't remember the name of them right now because I'm terrible at that kind of thing. And then it adds a whole aviary for them, which has powers. So you get the flying beasts off the board, you put them on your aviary, and you get a power for the rest of the game. Really good or convenient game scoring thing. Plus you're playing these cards that give you powers. So you have kind of a lot of extra powers going on, trying to max out your game that way.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, really interesting and could be really interesting how you combo those things.
Yeah. And one of the dinosaurs, I'm going to mess up the name, but it's a Paracephalosaurus. I'm not sure that's what, you can put the name on the screen. Paracephalosaurus, I think, but they're really cool because they have this like really interestingly shaped head, and they found an almost intact skull, and they were able to do like a 3D model of it and blow air through it. And so it's the one dinosaur where they think they know what it sounded like, which is super cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, you can, if you look it up online, there's like recordings of it, of them like using that skull to reproduce what they think it sounded like, which is so cool.
The other thing the Cretaceous Skies expansion adds are endgame goals, which we forgot to score.
We did forget to score. I still would have won.
but we forgot to score them. But and then the a variable player setup, which was good too, I think. But the one other thing that we had is we played a couple games. In our first 2 games, the person who won had the same ability, and it was a pretty strong ability that allowed you to increase the value of a certain dinosaur type significantly in points, and that had a big factor on the final score.
A huge factor. Like 20 points for one category is pretty big. I got 175 points
For 5
yeah,
blue dinosaurs.
for my blue dinosaurs.
Yeah. So that was kind of we're wondering if that's overpowered or if we just don't know how to properly play against it right now.
Yeah.
You know, which when you're new to a game that happens, right? So you know. So anyway, but we love this. We love this. Really great table presence, really great thematic gameplay with some interesting decisions.
And the best dinosaur there is.
Yep.
Whose name I still can't pronounce. I'm sorry. I still love it.
I'm terrible at dinosaur names, so I'm not even going to try. But that's so that's it. That's our video where Jane drank a lot of water and
Jen messed up a lot of words.
So I don't know if you have any questions about any of the games we talked about, or any thoughts about anything we said, or you know, if we're wrong about something, which is always possible.
How to pronounce the name of that dinosaur.
Let us know. We try to be honest and candid, but we do like most games.
Yeah.
And we like them, so even if we're critical of something in the game, doesn't mean we don't like it. We like the game most likely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So anyway, thank you for watching.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot.
All right, have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.